You have to know the country. You have to walk around it. You can't read through the books. You have to length and the breadth of the country. You should walk. You should observe the people. You should observe the way people sit, way the tree grows, way the animals moves. All these movements, if you don't study, and if you don't have seen it, then you are designing, but you don't have an understanding of the soil. Unfortunately we design requirements and not the environment. Because we get a brief, because every designer works on a brief, but he doesn't say, okay, I work on an idea and then I meet the brief between the new ideas. Then perhaps there is every possibility that you can change.
Every day of his life until the last, Dashrath would draw in the morning. The way a singer would do his riyaz, Dashrath would draw to check his inner balance. He described his drawings by saying that my line is a dot that goes for a walk, and each line determines the distance and location of the next one until a relationship is built up within the lines themselves. That ultimately constitutes my drawing. Such simple thoughts produce the most complex works. Simple insights into the future produced path-breaking works. His understanding of art, design, photography, and their interrelationships was expressed in simple terms of light, form, anticipation, connectivity, and experience.
The form does not exist without shadow. Unfortunately, people don't recognize the shadow because they say shadow has no color. The form has color. But the most abstractions which you are searching in different aspects of art or form, I think the shadow casts much greater creativity because the form is static. If you take a leaf, if you take a ceramics, if you take anything, fruits, when you see the form, it never moves once its form is formulated. Then I feel personally that the form does not have direct relationship with the light moving. So what happens when the same form at the one static positions, the form itself is very static. So form does not have freedom to move anywhere on its own until you lift it and put it, or you put the light. Where once you put a form or whatever the position you put, it depends on the source of light how it moves. And that makes the shadow elongations, short, long, wide, sharp, unsharp. Knowledge you can acquire in isolation, in a classroom, through the books and through the media and everything. You can say, I know. But experience you cannot. You can't bring mountains in your house. If you wanted to know how to climb on a mountain, not by National Geographic magazine, you can't see I can't climb all mountains. And you know it. You know mountains are there, but if you have to experience what is climbing, then you have to climb the mountain yourself. And I have a very clear thing in my mind that if I make it as a pure design event, then maybe I don't have enough budget or enough time or enough resources to do something which people always remember. The second very important question was that the locations. After thinking a lot, I said I will do a Festival of India's inaugurations in front of the Eiffel Tower. This discussion was going on and Mr. Gandhi was there, Prime Minister was there, and then almost the decision has been finalized that I can do that, and she was assassinated. And when she was assassinated, I thought, okay, the job is not on. And I was sitting quietly, and after a month I got a letter from the government again, when Rajiv Gandhi taken it over, that the dream of my mother to do festivals of France, Russia, they all are on. Henri Cartier-Bresson one of the greatest photographers the world has produced it for the last century, that he was not photographer, he's beyond photography. Because he says, I'm using photography, camera as a medium. I'm a poet. I think differently. And whether I write a poetry with pencil or paper or pen, it doesn't make difference. It's the content of the poetry is the most important thing, not the media. So as a photographer, the camera is a media for me. And it's not the end of the tour. I like to record it how I met him first time. I didn't know him at all. I didn't know who is he. He's just hanging a small camera like a M3. No camera bag, nothing. Just walks in and he walks, you see, then he come to me and he said, the way you look at and way you see is interest me. The painting, because I was painting like an impressionist in those days and not abstract. So there's a way you choose your angles and see the streets and landscape, which interests me. Are you interested in photography? My name is Henry Cartier. So I said, no, I don't like photography because I draw everything what I see, and I feel quite nice. So he says, you not tried camera, but if you try, I'm sure you will do something very good. Do you mind? Take 3 photographs for me. And maybe for the first time he has given his camera to somebody to use it. He said, but I don't know anything about photography. He said, I don't want you to know anything about photography. I adjust everything and you don't have to see it. You just see through this viewfinder and press the click. And then when you come, you wind like this and make 4 or 5 photographs in the street. So I go out of the gallery. I did 2 or 3 photographs here for his request, because I was not know who is he. I didn't know whether I want to do photography or not. And after a week, I got a very nice invitation. Would you like to come to my house? So I've been there, and very interesting thing which he says. He suddenly put a lot of photographs on the table, print, 10 inch by 12 inch, and said, would you like to see my work in this? And I was seeing, and then he said, putting in, I was seeing, and then I didn't know, I don't remember, because after 15 days I was not known. Because when he says his photographs, I can't say, even dream that whether he's mixed up my 3, 4 photographs inside or not. And I said, what do you think? I said, it's nice. Then he picked up my photo. He said, what do you think of this? I said, it's a good picture. Where have you taken it? I asked him a question. He said, and you smile and take another photograph. He showed, what do you think? I said, nicely done. Somebody very carefully framed and did the buildings in the street. Then he said, let me be frank about it. It's your photograph, so, which you think is good. Why don't you do photography? The first activity of NID should start with, institute should start with developing his own faculty. By development of the own faculty, you will make the programs. And the people who are eminent designer at that time, and they are one of the greatest of the last century, their contributions in today is unparalleled in the field of design. They all were involved in basically earlier their career in teaching and professional work together. When we approach them, most of the people say that it's too late for us to come as a teachers, but we'll be interested if we can teach and if we can do something to build. And that's how the NID has decided that time that National Design Institute should not start a graduation program called or that, but it's a professional education programs. And in that connection, we brought wonderful people. At that time, like Professor Louis Kahn came, and we had a first professional job was doing IIM. Then we got Charles Eames, who came with his team to teach exhibition design, and then we had exhibition design programs. Then we got Erwin Hoffman, who is the head of the Basel School. He came, and under his guidance we started a graphic program. Then we asked industrial design program we call from Brown, Grujlo and Reichel is the engineer. And that's the first time we understood or we got a clarity that it's easy to design a form or easy to design a product. But a product, before it gets into production, you need in between designers and the production process engineer, you need a product engineer who engineers the product so the product is well defined about his detailing, his finishing, his requirement, and then he can guide the designers that this is possible and this is not, and then finally we make the product which can be produced by an industry. We got in furniture design, we got George Nakashima. He came and teach to make pure wooden furniture and how to trade cut and all these things. Then we also have workshop heads from London who can teach us how to use the new tools and new machines and everything. Then we got person to teach us on animations with Leo Leone and Giugini is from Italian animators, and we started animation department. Took your biggest tribute because when Bulaba Institute was in 50s and 60s running, at that there was not a single art gallery in Bombay except the Taj. They had a commercial gallery. We had many painters, but they had no place to exhibit, like Hussain, Gaitonde, Tayyab, myself, Prafulla, Joshi, Dave. Lots and lots of painters in Bombay, they paint, but they had no place to exhibit. I hope in those whole era, I wanted to sometime to bring it, which was one of the greatest support given by the Madhuri Desai and his Bulaba Institute to give an artist a studio to work and to experiment. People might think that who has the time? And I always felt it that everybody will have enough money, enough for his requirement. Everybody will be said, I'm content, I got my enough requirement. But he will be say that, do you have time for me? You said, no, you fix up an appointment. Or so we are going to be slowly time poor, and perhaps there is no land to walk. Everything will be filled up without knowing it, without reason. So I think this, I feel personally, I wish I can live another. I was telling in 50s, in 30s. When I was 30, I was saying, I'll be wonderful at age of 50. I will understand what I want to know what I predicted it happened or not happened. Now I'm 80 and I felt that I wish 20 years, I can predict it what can happen in 20 years. I wish I can see it happens to verify, but it's tough.
A man like Dashrath doesn't die. He lives forever. NIT is celebrating its golden jubilee and is still going strong. It was the third fully dedicated design school in the world after Bauhaus and Ulm, both which had closed down in less than a decade each. He lives through his lifetime's work, which can be experienced at one time. He lives through his photo essay on the evolution of India, from its independence to globalization. And above all, he lives in the goodwill he left behind for others to develop further in his museum at Alibag.